What's up, y'all? Welcome to another edition of Straight Vibing with Lady J. Hope y'all are staying cool. If you guys are getting a heat wave where you're at, because here, boy, I'm staying inside a little more often now because it's just a little too hot, too consistent. I ain't complaining, but I'm being smart because I ain't trying to end up with heat stroke and shit. But anyways, I hope y'all are doing good and are remain blessed. So today I wanted to talk about me being turned into prostitution at the age of 16. Um, when I was a teenager, after I had lost my virginity at 13, that just opened up a whole new can of worms for me. It's in my mind, I wanted to grow up faster. And at the age around 15, we got a little taste of going to the bar. And here where I'm at, the legal drinking age is 18. So, had a taste of going to the bar long before I'm 18. And the age of 16, me and a girlfriend of mine, we were hanging out and, we met people, of course, going to these spots on a frequent and what have you. And there was these couple of guys that wanted us to hang out with them and what have you. So we did that. And we went to this one little spot that was on the one side of the city. And, we went early, so we didn't get ID'd. And we were good to go to get in there. And my girlfriend forgot her cigarettes in the car. So she went ahead and went to the car to go grab them, only to get ID'd when she came back. So we had to leave the establishment for obvious reasons. And so we ended up going to another spot. We pull up into the parking lot and it was just like, nah, let's not go there. We're going to go down the highway to the city called Calgary. And there's a big concert out there and we're going to go take a trip out there. Okay, cool. So we were all excited to get there, just to kick it down there. Well, lo and behold, when we get to Calgary, they put us out. We needed money to get back, so they claimed. So here we are, we're put out on track to make money to get us to where we need to go to do whatever it is that we're needed to do. And we were freaked out. So, we tried to get out of that situation and it didn't turn out to be successful. So anyways, they end up picking us up and we ended up going to another venue. This was like at 2 in the morning, 3 in, went to another venue and we were basically in and out of that venue and get into the car. And me and the girl go in the back seat thinking we're about to head back home. So we're just chilling in the back seat, sleeping, or so we think we're sleeping. We're just chilling. And all of a sudden, a short time later, we notice we're not going in the direction of our home. We're going in the complete opposite direction. So then, my friend had brought up as to where are we going? Oh, well, we're going to go to Winnipeg, which is like a long ways away. It's like 15-hour drive from Calgary, like going west in Western Canada. So my girlfriend was like, you need to stop the fucking vehicle right now because we ain't doing this. We're out in the middle of nowhere. It's like 5:30 in the morning, sun's rising. She jumps out of the car and he's like, well, you want to go? So, of course, we had to stay. So we proceeded on to Winnipeg, made stops along the way. We stopped in Regina, finally ending up in Winnipeg a few days later, or not even that many days, just a couple, I'd say a day or two. And there we go. We got to be put back out again. So in the game, when you're with more than one girl, you have to look out for each other. And so the girl that I was with, she got picked up by a dude and, I pay attention to the car and what have you, did my homework. And so after, I left and I came back, I noticed she wasn't there, but I noticed the car that I seen her in last was circulating around and he was trying to get my attention. And I was just like, oh fuck, like something was up. I just wasn't feeling safe to jump into the car because I didn't know what had happened to her. So when I finally got back to the hotel, she didn't make it to the hotel. So at this point, we were really freaked out as to what the hell happened. So we ended up going to another spot, another hotel, and we were there for over a week, I believe. And there was this restaurant we always used to go to, this family-run restaurant. And the son would, we had a conversation. We became, we became well acquainted while I was there, and he knew of the situation. So he offered to help get me out of this situation. So he was like, I'll tell you what, you go ahead, go to the hotel, get your stuff. I'm going to put you up. We're going to get you out of this situation. So go ahead and, set it up and what have you. And during this, I had a couple of incidences, being out there. I had one incident where I got into a vehicle with two guys. I was not schooled on, you're not supposed to do that at that time. I went ahead and did it. So I ended up going, and the one guy in particular was threatening to take me out in the middle of nowhere, strip me of all my clothes, rape me, and leave me there. The other gentleman, however, was like, no, we need to go ahead and take her back. So when they brought me back to where they got me, the gentleman was like, well, I can't even call him a gentleman, the fucking asshole was like, I want you, he was in this factory, very sketchy area, and pulls up to this factory, and he says, I want you to walk towards that building. I don't want you to look back, and I don't ever want to see you here again. And so I walked out, and, they drove off. And when I got picked up by the fellas that I represented, because now it was no longer one I was representing, it was two, due to the fact that old girl had dumped on me. These guys were just on some fuck shit. So then I told them what had happened. So they were like, okay, so for now on, what we're going to do is we'll keep an eye out for you. And you just let us know, give us a signal, letting us know that that is who you see. And so a couple of days later, sure enough, I see a car, and I, put up a signal indicating that. And so they scoop me up, pick me up in a car. We trying to chase this car around in the area, pull up at this red light, and one of them is in the passenger seat, so fixated on what this car looks like, jumps out and gets ready to open the door and point a knife on this dude. It wasn't him. It was some random dude, some random citizen up the city, and just ready, just going about his day. So anyways, back to the spot of where I get out of the hotel, and the gentleman that helped me get out of that. So I end up going to another hotel, and me, of course, at that time in my life, I was big on going, being part of the party scene, bar scene, or whatever. There was a bar downstairs at the hotel that I was staying. So let me go check it out. So Lady J goes and checks it out, and lo and behold, I meet a guy, and, well, come with me. I can provide all this for you. Mind you, I'm 16, so I'm falling for this trap like crazy. So I ended up going with this guy. He has like 5 other girls. And I was like, okay, well, what have you? Let's do this type shit. So stuck around for a little bit, not too long. And then there was a girl that had been with him for a while, and she wanted to leave as well as me. So we planned an escape, and we managed to get out of that. And we got out of that situation, ended up at another hotel, and I'm getting ready to come home. My dumb ass goes ahead and chooses again. So when I finally get my ass back to my city, as soon as I get off the plane, I'm greeted by the next pimp. And again, that wasn't short-lived, or that wasn't long-lived. It was, it was, I'd say, a couple of weeks, maybe nothing more than a month, I don't think. And, hanging out, doing the lifestyle as they do, they have the guys over, shit like that. Well, guess who ends up pulling up? The girl, that one that disappeared in Winnipeg with the gentleman. Come to find out, when we were talking, she ends up telling me that the guy got her on the next bus and sent her home, and that's what he was trying to do for me. Didn't work out that way. So I decide to leave this pimp, and I'm like, okay, I tell myself I am no longer going to do this. As far as giving the money to a man, I'm putting myself out there. I'm going to go ahead and start doing it for myself. And I was, for some reason up here, I don't know what it is about the game, but when you have affiliation with someone in the game that's American, you're untouchable. I don't know why. I don't know about now, but back then that's what it was. And so, that's what I used as my defense mechanism. When I got out of that, decided to get out of that situation with that pimp, he held me and my girl captive in the hotel for several hours. Yeah, it was scary. And in the game, what they do is they'll take all your belongings and they'll charge you. So in order for me to leave this pimp, I had to give him $2,000 to get all my shit back and my fucking freedom. Okay, cool. But guess what? Bump that, keep my shit. My shit is not that fucking important. So at that point, that's when I went ahead and just represented myself in a sense. If and when you're out there, when you were out there on track, at times other girls would pursue you and ask you who you're with. And, at times they would try to bump you. In other words, try to get you to choose with their family. So when I would get asked who you're with, I'd say, I'm with Ace. Well, who's Ace? He's from Chicago. I never got touched. I never got jumped by other girls, taken for money. I never got, into another situation with another pimp. Never. There was a couple of situations, once in Winnipeg and once in Calgary, where I randomly, at a random, just had women come to me and tell me this wasn't the life for me and that God had something for me other than this lifestyle. And the thing is that I was raised Christian. I went to church. So it's not that I didn't believe him, but I was just young. I was selfish. I was just really in my own world. And I just wanted to do me. And as much as I knew that held true, I was like, nah, this is what I want to do. This is my shit at that time. And, when I look back at it, I mean, when you're 16, you don't love yourself at 16. You haven't even experienced life at 16, so I was in and out of the game. I never really consistently stayed in it. I just would dip in and dip out, dip in and dip out. Other than that situation in Winnipeg with those two guys, I have to be fortunate to say that I had never been physically beat by a pimp. I've never really had a bad date with a trick, a John, whatever you refer to him as. I've never, God had his hand on me. As I stated before, God said to my mom when I was little that he'd protect me. And he did just that, because to be in a high risk lifestyle like that, like you're completely interacting with strangers on the frequent. And you hear of so many horrific things happening to women that are in the sex trade industry. Because in the sex trade industry, I mean, as women, I can only speak for us women, and I'm sure, for men that are in the industry as well. You're a target. You're easy to snipe and to take into the game because you don't know better. So it's easy to portray, especially at that young age. Usually if you're, kind of out there, you're looking for love, you're looking for a family. And that lifestyle tries to represent that, just like being in a gang. They got your back. And I mean, there's pimps that would have lots of girls. And I mean, anybody who was in the game, everybody kind of did it to a different capacity, what was customized for them. Some guys liked to have a lot of fucking girls and just pimped out girls, and the girls get along. Some of them had cat fights, whatever. I mean, other than the situation in Winnipeg with that big family of girls, the one when me and the girl jumped out, it got out of the game, there was like 5 girls there. And one of them had a kid, and, we had to take turns babysitting the kid, and we were on a schedule as to what time we had to be on track, what time we had to come home for dinner, what time we would step out, and the soonest we could come back. Like, you just couldn't come back home at like midnight. Oh, no. You got to be out till like 3, 4, 5 in the morning. and it's, you don't realize when you're there, you don't understand the damage that is being done to you mentally, socially, emotionally, physically, and to subjectify yourself to the mistreatment of men, not just John's, but a pimp. You're giving a man a control just to try to run you and control you. And I mean, you're out there selling your body, and this dude is the one taking all the fucking money. And that was one of the reasons why I snapped out of it not too long into the game, that I was going to represent myself, because I'll be damned that I was going to be the one putting myself out there like that. And this motherfucker out here taking my money. Protection? How are you fucking protecting me if I'm in a friggin' hotel room with the trick? You ain't there. You can't stop from that happening at that time. You can't. So, and I was wise to that. So I wasn't gonna just allow for that to happen. And amazingly enough, I was very fortunate and spared from a lot of the stuff that a lot of women haven't been able to avoid. And when I was in that game for a while, and then I go ahead and get my boobs done and got into the dancing, it was like, that was more empowering than anything, because I was comfortable in my sexuality, but I didn't have to fuck a motherfucker to get paid. I ran the fantasy. There's nothing you could do, and especially the laws here, there's a 3-foot rule. You can't touch the dancers here. So, but it was just, when you think back on when my parents adopted me and I was already touching myself down there, that door had been open for me to be sexually abused and mistreated. And it's been like that for most of my life, and now it's like, it's different now. I don't need to go into detail as to how it's different, because I've already discussed this. But, it's funny. I, at my daughter's school, when she was in elementary school, my 2 younger ones, there was a couple of, events that they were having. And I went to these, school events. And lo and behold, guess who was there? One of the motherfuckers that kidnapped me and my girlfriend and took me to Winnipeg. And can you believe this motherfucker had the audacity to say that he wanted to talk to me and hang out and talk some business opportunities? Never once did this motherfucker ever apologize for what the fuck he did. He had even seen me in my place of work and was like, yo, Jay, what's up? Why haven't you hit me up? And I'm like, and when I've seen him at the school events, he was with his wife. And I'm sitting there like, it's almost 30 years since that shit. And this is not 30, 20 plus years, what have you, but still, all this time has passed. And not once could you come to me, and I'd seen him, I'd say within a period of 3 years, I'd seen him 2 handfuls of times. And never once did he apologize. And not all the time was he with his wife neither. But it's just, I was just like, wow, that's just fucking dumb as fuck. Like, time has passed and you just don't even care to reflect back and be like, hey, you know what? That was some fucked up shit I did. I'm not that same person. I want to apologize, And it's the same thing with one of the other motherfuckers that I represented. He lives in this city, and he's tried to add me to Facebook and stuff. And I'm just like, wow, the nerve. And I'm not saying that the people can't change. I'm not saying that. But it just feels that, even though it's a past life, some people need healing from that. And a lot of people don't clue in on that. They don't realize the damage they have done. I don't hate them. Like, if I'm civil. I acknowledge your existence. Hey, what's up? But as far as to sit down and have a conversation and all that kind of stuff, yo, man, I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling that at all. And I don't even know what the game is like now with the internet and all that kind of stuff. I couldn't even imagine. Don't even fucking care to know. But I just know from how the game was back in the day. And a lot of women that I knew, were in that lifestyle. And I'm not, God knows I'm not downplaying them, because, we all have our brokenness of where our hurts come from. And a lot of us resorted to the game to find that love or acceptance or whatever it is. And man, let me tell you, when I think back, and it's crazy to think of how I was exposed to all that, and here I am able to talk about it free from it, knowing my self-worth. And even though it was horrific things, a horrific lifestyle, at the same time, I went through it, but it made me who I am today. Again, to be woke and to be able to call out shit as to how it is, and to be able to identify as to why I reacted to certain things certain ways, and it always confused me, it's still to this day, when you see people treat people so bad, in a way, like prostitution, put girls on the street, have them sell their bodies, abuse them because of whatever reasons, whether they didn't make you enough money, argument, whatever the fuck it is, right? You can do that to someone else's, that's someone's daughter, sister, mother even, you know what I mean? And yet, someone did that to one of your family members, whether it was your sister, your mother, your daughter, you'd kill a motherfucker. Help it make sense as to how that's even possible. How do you have a clear conscience to do that to someone else's fucking kid, but yet you're ready to freaking go to jail to kill a motherfucker that did it to your loved one? Or even yet, to go ahead and raise your kid to believe that that lifestyle is okay. Because there is some instances where it's generational. To anybody that was in the game, is in the game, no disrespect. We speak truth here. Lady J just straight vibes the truth here. That's all there is to it. But for the ones that are, for us that are older and, arose from that, how does it make you feel to know these things when you can identify certain things and to have that comfortability to be like, yeah, that was okay? Because some people just think it's okay. No, it's not. It's not okay. Like, everybody has their reasons as to why, And for me, I am not going to judge you, because I've been there. That's hypocritical as fuck. This is where, people can come together and heal together, even to have these discussions, And I was very candid with my oldest daughter about it. I explained to her, that I had been in the game. And, some people aren't comfortable with telling the truth, and that's perfectly fine. You do not have to be open about your shit. That's your personal business. As for me, I'm different about it, But I feel, at a capacity to talk about it. You don't have to be public about it, but a lot of healing comes from it. A lot of realization derives from that. And I just want you to know, no matter what your past is, it doesn't have to be in the prostitution world. Maybe it's drugs. Maybe it's, it could be 10,001 different things. But do I feel shame for what I did? Yeah, because I didn't love myself. It is kind of, like I sit there and I'm like, damn, like that's fucked up. Like I just like, I can't believe I allowed myself to do that. But you can't, shoulda. I can't go back and change that. But what I can do is move forward from it and try to heal from it the best that I can. And I feel talking about my life is therapy for me. It's a form of healing for me, but it's also a tool to help others that may need it. I'm not proud of what I did, but I can't change that no more neither because it's already been lived. But things are a lot different now, You got to do what you got to do to survive. I understand that, especially, things happen and what. And to hate on someone, you can't. I don't understand why people hate on people when they do things that they don't believe that people should be doing. You don't understand where it's coming from and why they're doing this. Again, like I always say, when you grab an understanding, it doesn't mean you have to agree with it, but you get an understanding to see where that person is coming from. And that is the same with this. So just be true about you. It's okay to feel shame. It's okay to feel disgust because that's part of healing, believe it or not. Because you knew it wasn't right, but due to situations that may have been out of your control, it was what it was. But don't let that be the thing that prevents you from growing to be a better version of you. So with that, thank you for taking time out to vibe out with me. I hope you guys have a great week. I know July 4th is right around the corner for my American family. Canada Day come Thursday. I know some people, are on the fence about that, as to me, I am as well for the Indigenous family. If you don't know, go ahead and look it up. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the love and support. Be true to you. Love unconditionally. Just let's be there for one another at times right now when we really need it. Until the next vibe session, keep vibing. Whatever your vibe is. Thank you for spending the last 28 minutes with me. And until the next vibe session, Wednesday, same time, same YouTube place. And I'm out of here. Bye, y'all.